गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।
We welcome you all today for this program titled Heart to Heart Inspiring Messages. This program is completely dedicated to Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda Ji Maharaj. And in this program, we are going to introduce and interview very close devotees of Pujya Gurudev. Also, how Pujya Gurudev's teaching helps them in transforming their lives and doing their best and achieving the best in whatever endeavor they have done. Let me introduce to myself. I am Swami Prakarshananda. Presently, I am serving at Chinmaya Center of World Understanding, New Delhi. Today, we have with us Durga Singh Ammaji. She hails from a royal family of Nepal. She, after the marriage, came first to Madhya Pradesh and then to Delhi. She was instrumental in organizing lot of Pujya Gurudev's Gita Gyan Yajna in Delhi, and she till today is ready for the service to the mission. Before we start the discussion, we will chant few Gurudev's name from Namavali. You all can join with us. Om Kalatitaya Namaha. Om Kaivalya Swarupaya Namaha. Om Krutatmane Namaha. Om Krutakrutyaya Namaha. Om Gita Jnana Yajna Pracharakaya Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gunati Taya Namaha. Om Granthakrute Namaha. Om Chinmaya Namaha. Om Chinna Samshaya Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Amma,
Yes, Swamiji.
I just want to know what was that moment and your experience when you first met Pujya Gurudev in Delhi.
Well, Swamiji, I didn't really meet him the first time I heard him, which was in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Gurudev was having a yagna there, and that was the first time I ever heard of Vedant or of Chinmaya mission in that sense. And I was taken there by my father-in-law, who said, there's a Swami who speaks very good English, and I think you'd like to listen to him. So that is how I got there. And
So, the first yajna you attended of Pujya Gurudev was in Bharatiya Vigya Bhavan, Delhi.
1972, which was a long time ago.
Yes.
And I was a young girl who wasn't even really interested in going to a yagna, but I did because of the family. And I think the first time I heard him, I don't know, something happened, and I said, I have to listen to him more because he makes so much sense. Coincidentally, 2 days later, we were called for a bhiksha to Ravi Kapoor's house where Gurudev was there. And that is actually the first time I met him, and he asked me my name and what I did and all that sort of thing. And then he said, you have a father-in-law like this, you don't really need me to teach you, but if you have questions, you can ask. Of course, I didn't have any questions because I hadn't heard very much. So that was the first meeting in that sense, yes.
Right. And your family was completely involved in the mission. So can you please tell us something about your family involvement with Pujya Gurudev and the mission?
Actually, Swamiji, my husband's family were involved with the mission in the sense that they had met Gurudev many times and, long ago before I came into the family. So they were very familiar with him and with the Chinmaya mission, especially my father-in-law. And I think he was one of those who followed every wish of Gurudev till he could fulfill anything that Gurudev asked him. He would strive to do that.
So you're
And
talking about
my father-in-law.
Father-in-law.
He's the one who guided me to Vedanta and to Gurudev. And I think he'd already decided that, after his duties were over, he would just work for the Chinmaya mission. And later he joined the mission full time in Riva. He ran the ashram there, he built the ashram there. And he also got sannyas from Tejomayananda and came to be known as Prashantananda. So I lost a father-in-law, but I gained a Swami.
And Amma, as I know you as a happy and a joyful person,
Well,
yeah, can you please share that how these teachings of Pujya Gurudev helped you to be a joyful person?
Gurudev actually made me start thinking differently. A lot of my notions about myself, about the society I was in, everything else, he just gradually just changed it all for me. It was also listening to him, and I was one of those who hardly ever spoke to him. I did not speak to him because I was in too much of reverence. I could never just have a chat or and I never really felt the need in that sense that I should sit and really have a talk with him. But I did write to him a lot. Any of my doubts or even some, sort of not a problem, but some sort of a uneasiness in my mind or, how to tackle certain problems or whatever it was, I used to write. I never talked to him. And today I feel I was so, so lucky because, he always answered our letters. And so I think his teachings in that sense, a lot for me was also through his advice, what he gave me in my letters, and also the fact that Vedanta just after a while seemed something I should follow to the T if I can. And it made a lot of sense to me. And Gurudev clarified a lot of doubts. And I don't know if it's joyful or happy, but it's definitely, I'm at peace with myself, Swamiji.
We all can, experience it. And whenever I met you, it was an experience that, you are absolutely joyful inside out.
Thank you, Swamiji.
And
Gurudev's
Amma,
grace, actually, it's
yeah,
just...
definitely, you have a blessings of Pujya Gurudev. As I recollect, lot of yagnas as well as camps you have attended of Pujya Gurudev. So, can I ask you this question, that which text or which chapter of Bhagavad Gita really touched your heart and helped you to go spiritually?
What I absolutely adored Swamiji was the morning Upanishad classes. When Gurudev used to have in Siddhabadi, the classes used to be outside, where the old satsang hall was, outside there. And those were the special classes for me. But the text that first touched me was definitely chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita, where Karma Yoga, because I think it was at that age when I was going through having to do my duties and not understanding them, and there was always deviation, should I not, how to do it.
Yeah,
So,
and Amma,
chapter
what I heard
3
also, that Pujya Gurudev used to love chapter number 3 of
Oh,
Bhagavad
really?
Gita. Yes, Karma Yoga, it was the most dear chapter to Gurudev's
Wonderful.
heart.
So at that stage, it was definitely chapter 3 for very long. And then what got me was the Vivek Chudamani. And the reason for that, Swamiji, was I had attended Pujya Gurudev's camp in Siddhabadi, the full camp. And the filming was going on of the whole text at that time, so we were all involved, the young lot and all that. And when I came back from that, I was suddenly, at that time I used to do some work with Chinmaya Video Dham in Bombay. I was there very, very often, and I worked with Asha Kamdar. And the Chinmaya Video Dham had just been set up at that time. And we were busy doing the Gita, we were editing the Gita that had come from America to be shown in India and all that sort of thing. And when suddenly, at just around that time, Chinmaya Vibhooti's name came up. And after a couple of months, we were told that, we are going to have an audio-visual set up there, where you ask and he answers. So the he answers was Gurudev answering, and we could ask the questions. So we had to actually pick out answers to be put into that and then formulate the questions. So we were given a free hand of choosing the text. And I think I had to do a lot of the pulling out of the text, not the editing. But I thought Vivek Chudamani would be the best because it had everything in it. So
You just said it, Amma. Because when we were doing Vedanta course,
Yes.
I remember in Sandipini Sadhanalaya, Mumbai, morning we used to have a lecture
Yes.
by our Acharya, and evening we used to have Pujya Gurudev's tape.
Okay.
Yeah, so whatever we have studied in the morning, we used to listen same shlokas in the evening.
Wow.
And it was a great clarity and joy
Yes,
to
yes.
just listen to Pujya Gurudev. So, Mom, you had a lot of times organized Pujya Gurudev's yajna in Nepal, as well as a camp, I think. So, can you please share about those experiences?
Swamiji, the Nepal camp came about totally out of the blue. I had no intention of asking Swamiji to come to Nepal because I knew that nobody had heard of Vedant, nobody heard of English speaking Swami, So there was no question. I never had this in mind at all. But I used to go to a lot of his yagnas in Indore, in Lucknow, and Bombay, and I had enough relatives to stay with, or whatever. So it was in one of the times that I went to Lucknow, one of my aunts from Nepal happened to be there, and she's very spiritual. So I asked if she'd like to come with me. I'm going in the morning, talk to Swami Chinmayananda, who's going to be speaking in English, and she was very excited about it. And the minute she heard him, she just went completely crazy in that sense that she said, we have to call him to Nepal, we have to call. And I said, definitely not. Who's going to come there to listen? And you can't just call him and, not have people. And no, don't. And she said, no, but I want my children to listen to him.
So that,
that
became
was the
a
thing.
cause.
Yes, Swamiji, that was the cause, but I did not even ask him because we stood around him. Then they called us to have bhiksha with him. I never sat with him and ate, but she did. So I just stood at the back, and suddenly she said, Swamiji, please come to Nepal, please come to Nepal. This is the first time she's met him. And Swamiji just looked at me And he said, but she has never called me. I mean, I didn't know what to
So
do.
it was there in your heart, but
But and so weekly I said, no, Swamiji, please. And he said, now where time and no time. So I thought it's over. About 6-7 months later, suddenly I just got a letter that said, I am coming to Nepal, these are the dates, arrange the yagna and meet me in Bombay. I will give you directions.
oh, direct
So
order.
I nearly got a shock. I said, oh my God, now where yagna? And I thought it was all over. So anyway, I went to Bombay and he was talking in Shivaji Park or one of those places there. So I went for the yagna and he said, you got my letter, I'm coming there. And there's nothing you have to do. You don't have to have anything fancy for the Swami. But the hall should be full. And
So-
the books should be well displayed. And the word should go out to everybody. And I know this is the first time. So there is a booklet that tells you how a yagna is conducted. I have asked the Ranchi center to send it to you. I mean, he had just done everything for me. So that was the first time. The yagna went off beautifully. I mean, it was really well done and everybody came. I think half of them came because I begged them and then got interested and attracted and they stayed on for the whole thing. Gurudev was very happy. But the second time that he came was I got literally less than a month to organize the second yagna because I was blissfully in Sidbari with him. And he sent someone to call me and he said, Hyderabad has had to cancel the yagna, so I'm going to give it to you. And I said, I have to leave this camp and go. I mean, I can't possibly.
I can just imagine, Amma, that
I was horrified.
Yeah.
So then I was, of course, in front of him, I said, yes, Swamiji. And, there was just no time. There was like 20 days and, from Sidbari to go to here and then there. And anyway, so then I got absolutely rattled. I was very rattled. I came out and I called up a cousin in Nepal. I said, just book one hall. And we knew the hall because that's the best hall there. So I said, just book it. Please book it. These are the dates.
So Nepal means Kathmandu.
Kathmandu. So he said, don't worry, but come soon. And, and then I said, oh, and then he said, and we had to do souvenirs at that time. So that was another thing in those 20 days. Luckily for me, a very good friend of mine, Bharti Sutankar, who's an old devotee of Gurudev's, who's worked with him, she was in Delhi and we used to be doing things together here. I called her up, I said, Bharti, please think of a souvenir. He's suddenly given me these dates. So that was that. And then I don't know how or what, I don't know if Gurudev sensed it or somebody went and told him. The next day, I was sent for. So I went to his kutia in Sidbari. And the minute I entered, he just looked very stern. And I was wondering what I had done wrong or, something. And he just shouted at me. And he said, why do you think that you are the doer?
Oh.
All I could do was just kneel down and cry because I just couldn't stop my tears at that stage. And he said, what have you learned from me? So it was, I think that was one of those really intense moments in my life where
I can imagine, Amma.
some sort of.
So it was a direct, message
Yes.
from Guru
Yeah.
to the disciple.
And that message stuck on, Swamiji. I mean, that is one of the teachings of Gurudev that has stuck on me. So he's taught me to offer everything to the Lord with whatever I do in my own way, in my own bad, sort of a not perfect way. But that was one time that it was very, very direct from him, definitely. So that was it. The yagna was absolutely beautiful, Swamiji. And that was one yagna where I had a very embarrassing time with him. Because firstly, because he was not too well, we thought it was
So you were a little worried about his health also.
of course, very worried about his health, because his breathing was not, at night when we sat and all that, it wasn't great. He was on medication And he insisted on the yagna. The talking was also, he didn't cut down the time or anything of that sort. So we were worried. And then so then we decided that it's better if we ask 2 or 3 people every day to come and have breakfast with him instead of having a whole lot of people coming, which turned out to be an excellent idea because one was a very good doctor friend and very suave, very handsome from America and all that, and Nepali. And he could also take the blood pressure and all that. No,
So
without
you were
really-
little, you know,
I
now
mean-
safe and very much
Yes.
sort of careful about
Yes.
everything.
So then this gentleman used to come and he used to have breakfast, and Gurudev took a great liking to him.
That's
Because, you know,
great.
he discussed the politics and the this and the that and all that kind of thing. Then one day he said, don't you have other friends here who I can meet, interesting friends? And this man said, yes, who would you like to meet? And, you know, so he said maybe a historian or someone in politics. So anyway, he got his group of 2, 3 friends for lunch bhiksha. This was day 4, so we just have 3 more days to go. And the usual food was there, the food was cooked, everything was there. And
So, can I just interrupt you? Food served was South Indian or North Indian?
totally North Indian. So I mean, nobody knew South Indian.
Because Gurudev used to love South
I
Indian.
know, but then we had no South Indians.
I see. So carry on.
And anyway, the food was all served and everything. And since he had come, you know, and because of his health, I had got a letter from Chinmaya Mission West
About?
and CCMT about what he should eat and what he shouldn't eat and what is regulated and what is not. I mean, long, long lists, you know.
I can imagine.
So I was, of course, trying to follow those, and then Asha said, don't be silly, he's going to get very angry if you start doing no salt and all this nonsense. You can't do that. So I listened to her for that. But one of the things there, which both of them said, was nothing fried. So the papads were not fried. They were,
Yeah, no, Amma, one more time I want to interrupt because I've heard Gurudev used to love that papad which is fried and nicely, you know, come
yes,
up like
but
this.
there wasn't any Swamiji, because I was just so scared of everyone, you know, and if anything happened and, you know, all that. So the day 4th, when all these people are sitting there for lunch, on the 3rd day he said, you know, sometimes you can fry the papad. That's all he said. He didn't say, as I put it, I kept quiet. I didn't say yes, no, nothing. Now the 4th day, obviously I didn't fry the papad because I was so scared of all this other thing. And he said, what? He looked at the papad and said, what? And he picked up one papad. Now all of them are watching this scene. I'm dying. And he picked up one papad and he went tuck on the plate. You know, in my part of the world, they give these dry papads only to the buffaloes. I could have died, Swamiji. And all those Nepalese, they all started laughing, ha ha ha, and everybody
my
laughed.
God.
And, you know, so that was over. Then the next day, I said, now Asha, I have to fry it. I can't take this, he's going to kill me. Now I have to fry it. And she said, do what you want. If you want to fry, but they've told you not to fry, no, fry it. I said, forget it. Let him scold me. I am not going to fry.
Oh, again you took a chance.
I took a chance. I didn't fry. He didn't say a word. And the last day, I didn't fry. He didn't say a word. And then we were going, and he was leaving. Then I got a hug, and you know, all that, the usual, whatever. And then from Bombay, I get a letter from him saying, I'm so glad you stuck to your guns.
Oh.
The papads you did not fry, and he made a little round thing of the broken up pieces which look like papad.
In his letter. Oh, that's so nice experience, Amma, with Pujya Gurudev. And you know, in every part of his association, it was a teaching and it was a learning.
Swamiji, totally.
Yeah. So, Amma, today, you know, how do you experience his presence in your life?
I experience his presence very, very strongly in my life, Swamiji. I don't think I have to even try to really want to experience. You know, he's there. He's,
As if he's there with you,
yeah. I
a
feel that
guiding
all the
force.
time. Absolutely. I mean, guiding any time. I just say, Swamiji, what?
So that's the correct, this connection, direct connection with Pujya Gurudev.
I get the answer.
So we had so nice experience from you about Pujya Gurudev, and it's a great treasure to listen to such a nice experience. Anything which you want to share from your heart?
These are all reliving moments, Swamiji. I don't usually, you know, but it was like opening up a treasure box and all these sort of thoughts come up. And from my heart, I would just say that Gurudev has given so much of himself to all of us. And I'm actually very, very thrilled, very blessed, very contented, and, you know, to see how the mission is flourishing. It's his grace. It's all of you, all your Swamis and all who have taken it forward. And for us, that's the most gratifying thing, to see his work flourish.
So true, Amma, that his blessings are always there for all of us, and he guides at right time. So with a very striking message. That's what we also experience. So let us remember once again Pujya Gurudev
Thank you so
with his name. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Time.
Thank you. So when he came, we together went and did Namaskar. So I didn't tell that I got married. I had sent him the invitation. He knew. He knew that I had married, and he was doing something. So we went and prostrated. Then some ammas told, Swamiji Raghu and his newly wedded wife. So he told, don't quarrel. That's all.
But Raghu,
and we are yet to start that.
oh my God! But what a great message by Pujya Gurudev, that don't quarrel. And did you follow it?
That's what I'm telling. We are yet to start that.
Oh, that's so nice.
त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव